Hey everybody, welcome back to another Destiny 2 Fashion Friday. Hope you guys had a great week of Destiny. I've been doing a lot of Iron Banner grinding mostly. I actually got all 3 characters done, and I'm thinking about doing some spoils farm on the Templar and maybe focusing on getting the moon rocket. Just doing some fun little grinding before Witch Queen on some weapons that have interesting roles and I think might be fun. I'm actually not going for a Fatebringer or a Found Verdict. I actually have pretty good roles for both of those. I could probably get a better one for Found Verdict, but I'm actually going for Praetus Revenge. I just think if you got a full handling, moving target, opening shot role, it could just be an insane sniper and you don't even really need Snapshot. I wouldn't have done this without trying a roll, and I did have like a fluted moving target roll, and it felt really good. I think 140s are a little underrated right now, but they just do lack that explosiveness of a snapshot high impact sniper. And snipers in general are just kind of out the meta, really, outside of trials. But either way, today we've got a fun little video. We just got this MYSTOPOSPHOR. MYSTOPOSPHOR? Kind of looks like phosphorus, but it's actually not Fa there. It's MYSTOPOSPHOR. And this new MYSTOPOSPHOR shader, it has a really cool animation in the fabric texture, which is always fun to see. I think we have a few shaders like this now, including like Seven Sisters. I think there's one more, but I can't think of it right now. But it has mostly this nice teal, maybe cyan, and then it's like smoky green and then purpley blue animation kind of going across the fabric. So I'm just gonna kind of go through and try to find some multi-shades to go with this piece of shader here, this piece of fabric mostly. It does have a black and purple hard surface section as well, with a kind of greeny yellow glow and then a purple glow in the secondary, but you probably won't see that too much. Really cool shader. I think you could revolve a lot of Titan sets around just this black and purple if you were looking to do that. And I think you could do a lot of hunter sets with like mostly this animated texture fabric, but I personally wouldn't do that. I think that would be a little too much, and I don't think it would look that great. It's a bit of a wild pattern to just go full like head to toe. So just off the bat, I think I like this chest piece the most with this shader on. This is kind of how I multi-shade, by the way, so I guess it'll be kind of like a tutorial on that as well. If I wanted, in this case, I have a shader I want to work with. So I kind of just made a silhouette that I liked on some pieces that I was interested in using. Mind Striders for the transversive steps is something I use a lot, and then I just recently got this Northlight robe, so I wanted to use those as well, and I think these kind of work pretty well together. You have these horizontal lines and this really heavily striated chest piece and shoulder pieces, so I thought they went together pretty well. And I kind of like how you have one obstructed by that one side and then it's completely open on the other side, because Mind Striders do have a nice little detail all the way up to the waist, so I think these are good legs to use with these this kind of chest piece. And then I think the Meridian Constellation is kind of interesting helmets, a little underused. I just love that big old gem on the front of the head, and it does shader really well. And I think this angle right here looks sick, so just thought I'd throw that in there. And then Bond, wanted to do something simple because I didn't really want any Bond, to be honest. This chest piece doesn't have a good balance on this side like some chest pieces do on the arm, so I wanted something simple that didn't stand out too much. But either way, let's go through how I might multi-shader this set. So what I usually do is just click through shaders and just kind of look at the whole set as I go. And if there's any piece of armor that just looks like really cool with a certain shader, that's where I'll stop and say, okay, I want to revolve around this chest piece with the MYSTOPOSPHOR shader. So my other focal point in this set is actually my legs, which is a little rare for the Warlock. And I want that to match really well with this other fabric that's right alongside here. I think you could also go the opposite route and do a nice contrasting black like you have in the chest piece there. And if I wanted to do that, you could do smudge. Line spray with the little whites looks pretty nice. But I did notice this Wicked Growth had a very similar greeny blue as the base of this fabric. And it also has this nice blue glow, like the blue purpley smoke that's animated across it. So I think I'm gonna go with this shader. I don't usually like this little texture in the metal here, but it's gonna be pretty hard to see, and so we're gonna lock that one in actually. Now that one I did kind of look at ahead of time. I have not really looked at shaders beyond that, so there might be a little cutting as I kind of click through shaders, but lately I've been sticking to the front of the pack here. Oh, that's really cool. A little paisley pattern, and that is something I hope they kind of get around to, like where you can favorite shaders or put shaders in alphabetical order or something, or maybe just like randomized order, just to get the shaders you use mixed up, or you know, get the ones in the back that you like a little more opportunity to be inspected in the sets. So I don't really know what I'm looking for here. I think you could go with a nice black shader on this cloth and match the big chest piece here. You go with a similar color in the fabric like I did with a Wicked Overgrowth. Or you could go with a nice purple. And we do have a lot of purple already that's making it not too imbalanced. I think a lot of times when you're multi-shadering, it's easy to kind of have this one stray color that's just kind of like a piece at the bottom of the set, or you know, maybe your hands are a little miscolored and have one stripe of yellow or something unshaderable across the set. And I think that is probably the biggest challenge of multi-shadering, is kind of tying everything into other pieces so it doesn't look so discombobulated and so multi-shadered and not actually matching. So I'm looking around, and I do see a lot of purple just in this chest piece. With Warlocks, sometimes you have colors that span the whole set just because the chest piece has them kind of evenly distributed. And I think that's definitely the case here with this kind of bluey green. It's all the way up in the neck because of the chest. And with the purple, you have it on the hip and the shoulder. So I don't feel too pressured to keep those colors popping up elsewhere. But I do kind of feel like this really light gold that's kind of patterned on the back here, and these little like feathery metal bits, I do feel like those could be extrapolated elsewhere. I kind of want to do that at the head though, because there is a good bit of gold like right here at the waist where the arms are hanging and where they will be in screenshots. So I don't feel too pressured with the gloves to do anything specific yet. So I'm actually going to go up to the helmets. And the helmet, like I said, I kind of want to do a gold. And when you want a gold that's going with these purples, you cannot go wrong with these old callus base shaders. So that gold specifically was pretty light, like a very yellowy gold. And that is, you know, like there's a ton of shaders in this game with gold, and they all are kind of slightly different. There's a few in the game, in my opinion, that do actually match really well, but a lot of them are slightly different, which is really annoying when you're trying to match all these together. but it can be fun too. If you know the shaders you're looking for, have some nice golds on them, it can be not too bad. But yeah, searching for that right perfect gold is usually the thing that takes me the longest in doing any of the sets. Multi-shaders. Ooh, that looks pretty nice. Is that a good gold? It's a little dark, but I do love that purple gem that we're getting there too. I might hold on to that. I think it adds a little detail to the mask that I'm really enjoying. And the only con here is there's not actually another color that I want to do something with the gloves with. These are some really simple gloves as well. I wouldn't really be too sad if we ended up just doing like a black for them. But I you know, I really kind of want them to be a little more interesting, and a little more interesting this shader might be here. A little extra texture there. Gives them a little more detail. I'm kind of liking it. I do like this purple little blob we got going on in here on the right hip as well. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so I have just the bond left. Right now, this MYSTOPOSPHOR is actually a different purple. That glow is just a little different. Well, that's cool. How does that look? Really subtle. Like I said, I kind of wanted this bond to be non-existent, and that is very non-existent. So if it didn't have that orange that clashes with that gold up there, I might keep that, but let's try to do something a little more interesting. So I did see this had some really nice blue. Is that pretty similar? Yeah, that's really similar. I think that does well. Does a good job matching the blue in here. And actually, I just noticed there is some red down here in the Mind Striders. So maybe I'll do red in these gloves actually to balance that out. That's a bit bright. This really reminds me of the reds. What's this shader called? That looks very similar to the last one. Yeah, that's a little too bright as well. Alright, so the closest I came to find is this Warbrick shader, I think. It actually doesn't look that close in this preview here. As you can see, it does look a lot darker even. But in the zoomed out view with this kind of harsh lighting, down here kind of looks a little darker. And I actually think it balances out pretty well. So here is our 5 shader sets draft, we'll say. And at this point in making a set, I like to just kind of sit back, you know, twirl the character a bit, and really say like what's popping out to me immediately. I think the closest thing right now is the helmet. I think with this shader we've got on, it feels a bit thinner. And I think that's due to that back portion now being a really dark shade of dark gray to a black. And I think it's kind of making just this base helmet look a lot thinner. So I might actually try to switch up the helmet. So I've switched to the Hood of the Great Hunt. That's the Last Wish helmet, if you don't know. And I'm really liking how the silhouette matches up. It does have this nice layered armored look near the crown of the head. And I think it matches really well with this chest piece. I think it is a similar thickness to our previous choice. Hold on. But just a little bit wider. And I think that is making a huge difference. Yeah, just a bit wider. And I think that is helping the proportions a little bit. Problem now though is we are getting that light red popping through with that testudo, a lovely red, but it is a little desaturated for what we're wanting. So I might actually just play around with shaders again and see if there's not something I'm more interested in. So here's that Warbrick we've got on the gauntlets. I always like to check over to Bloody Tooth if I'm using a Warbrick. They're very similar shaders, same season even, surprisingly. but you get a little more of a glossy black with this Bloody Tooth. And I think it's going to be a little too much for this rough silvered edged black we have on the chest piece here. So I'm going to keep looking around. Wow, okay, so this is actually a really good note here. This shadow gilt seems like these purples are the exact same. And this hard shader zone is more of a like really faint dark blue. But I think it looks pretty good on this set because it has that weathered silver edge, and with this lighting especially, it kind of just looks like a light silver, and that does not look too bad with the black chest piece below it. And I think these golds are very similar. I mean, like I said, a lot of golds are just slightly different. There's very few that are exactly the same, and I think these two are actually very similar. I would go to as far as to say this shadow gilt is like a really close family to this MYSTOPOSPHOR, which I would not have guessed just looking at the MYSTOPOSPHOR by itself. So that's really cool to find out. And now I've switched that up. I'm gonna just take a step back and give the set a rotation, see if there's anything now that's kind of catching me off guard. Something that maybe's drawn the eye a little too much. And I'm kind of thinking that bond is just not doing it for me, actually. I do like that it's accenting the blue glow down here, but we have such a detailed rest of the set. I'm afraid that is a little too simple. So what's in my mind looking for a new bond right now? I am thinking about, I want something with a lot, like a good amount of detail. It doesn't have to be like hyper detailed, but I want something with a lot of lines to match just the rest of the sets in general. Rest of the flow that's going on right now. I want something that has a glow, but there's nothing I'm really seeing in my glowing shaders that are really standing out to me, so that might not be possible. This Meridian Constellation bond looks pretty good. It is clipping though. It's gonna bother a lot of people, including me. If it wasn't clipping, I would say that's a pretty nice bond for this. I do like this a lot, Northlight bond. Oh, it is the same set, that makes sense. We could do the Wild Hunt bond. The golds actually match up really well. Is this shader? Yeah, it doesn't. So that's kind of nice. It's just a lot bulky. Yeah, there's just not a good glow bond. Just not a good bond I like for this besides that Northlight or the Wild Hunt. But the Wild Hunt was a little bulky, and I kind of don't want to use the same set from the robes. So I'm going to stick with the Street Scholar. I did switch over to the Oiled Algae. Kind of gives you that in between of what I want. It's kind of like unnoticeable and then blinks in with that nice blue. So kind of best of both worlds, honestly. And I think I'm done. I think this is the set. I do wish there was a slightly better helmet, maybe. But I think I'm pretty happy with the Great Hunt for now. If you have a helmet in mind that might go with this Northlight vest a little better, let me know in the comments. But this was kind of just a sneak peek of how I work with sets and multiple shaders. If you're into that, yeah, I could do some more with the Hunter and Titan. I kind of just wanted to play around with this shader since it's new this week in the Bright Dust store, and if you guys were kind of on the fence about buying it, maybe this will help you kind of see the other shaders that might match with it really well. I think Shadow Gilt is definitely one. I think Wicked Overgrowth is literally like the same family almost exactly, and it does introduce a nice red that you can, you know, pull in Warbrick, for example, into and have a great time. I do like the blue glow of the Wicked Overgrowth a little more than that yellowy green glow that MYSTOPOSPHOR has. So if you're trying to dodge that glow, that's a great tip for you right there. Overall, I think the shader is interesting. I don't think I'll be using it a lot. I'm not a huge fan of the color of the animation, kind of like a weird green. But I do like the black and purple, so it could be found on some Titan sets in the future. Or some more armory warlocks, like this Northlight robe chest piece. But yeah, I think, I mean, I'm a sucker for shaders, so I grabbed it obviously, but I think you could miss it honestly and not worry about it too much. I think it'll be out of style in just a couple weeks and not be seen really too much after that. But I think that's most of the shaders that have been coming out lately. For most people. For me, I've been really enjoying using some of these, and I definitely think a lot of them look amazing and are a little bit underrated, but maybe I'll do another batch of the shaders, new shaders in season 15, since there's been so many that have come out since that video. I think it was like Fetid Copper, I think Reanimated Verb was in there, but I don't know if I had really too many of these. So that's a whole row, almost 2 rows of shaders that I haven't really played with, and now I've just played with MYSTOPOSPHOR and some older ones. So yeah, let me know if you're interested in me working with these other shaders. I think there's some really difficult ones to work with, but dang, there are some really good looking ones as well. Justified Cobalt's really nice. I've been using Smudgepot Bruise a lot too. I love the blue in it, and it has a lot of nice black and silvers obviously there. I have not used this Burnished Reed. I don't personally like it too much, but it could be fun to try to work with it. Let me know which ones you're interested if you're into that, and I can do another video similar to this in the future. Hope you guys enjoyed it though. Hope you learned something about multi-shadering, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.